Johnson is one of the most accomplished players in NBA history with 5 championships.
All right, so I'm going to try to do something real quick today, and I want to. Let me see.
Edwards is one of the most promising players in the league today, and he hasn't yet achieved what those legends accomplished. I never thought he would make a statement like that because today's NBA wouldn't exist without the groundwork those legends put in. So Edwards' comments.
All right, so I want to do a live reaction to okay, so you see me right here. I get on the panel right there. You see the guy with the Knicks logo at the bottom. On the left-hand side of the screen, that's me getting in here. So, real quick, that's me getting in onto FYF, aka Lamont. Lamont, the coach, the defensive savant, the guy. You know, he's the guy who is friends, running buddies with Gilbert Arenas. And he hosted the famous Gilbert Arenas versus Scalp Attack debate, right? So, this is FY. If you see right here, this is FYF Sports debates, and they, they're pretty good. They're a pretty good YouTube platform. He has about 160,000 subscribers. God knows some basketball. I'll say this. Lamont, FYF is him and his partner, and then you got Go Jay's Kingdom that cast on his channel, similar to the way I cast on my guy, Go Cast Podcast, YouTube channel, right? So, again, I'm a novice at this, bro. Like, really, I should be figuring out how to chop these little clips up on the computer, and I will be getting into that. But I really want to show how, when it comes to, and then look, this guy, it has his debate tactics. Like, Lamont has his debate tactics. And it just so happens that I find myself in the run-in with Lamont a lot. He has a page on Instagram where he's breaking down defense, and I wound up, getting in on him as well. I see Go James Kingdom is, cause I love, if y'all understand anything about me, if y'all been chatting with me in these YouTube groups, these, Facebook groups for the long, y'all know I love debate, I love to smoke. I love talking about sports, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's never a point to get personal, it's never a point to take, to get all crazy about it. But at the same token, I love to talk about sports, and I hate for people to lie. Right, so this particular one, right, as you see, Steph Curry wouldn't survive the 90s. Draymond responds. This is the whole thing based on Stephen A. Smith bringing up a whole thing about Hall of Famer and the alleged thought of the Hall of Famer that talked to Stephen A. Smith. Pretty much that people are pointing at the finger at Tim Hardaway Sr. as the Hall of Famer that talked about Steph, right? Funny, a Golden State Warrior, he was a Golden State Warrior for about 6-7 years. Obviously they kind of cut him loose and traded him once he tore his ACL. But yeah, man, I just wanted to do this real quick. I wanted to do a reaction because I could make a video myself, but I want to do a live react right here and just react to the debate that I wound up in. And again, every time you pull on FYF, they have their tactics where they let you speak for 5 seconds at a time. And then they try to rope you into the argument that you didn't actually make. Now, as you see right here, this is Kevin Garnett speaking, right? So these are the old heads, mind you. These are the guys that LeBron played against, some of the guys that are in the league. Like, I know Steph Curry played a lot against Garnett, and he played a lot against Pierce, right? Steph Curry been in the league since 2009, right? Garnett and them retired around 16, 17, 18, or whatever, right? I'm going to say Garnett retired around 15. So they got, guys like Steph Curry played against Pierce. Guys like Steph Curry played against Garnett. So we're not at a point where you have an overlap, and we all know LeBron played him many, many times. So it's not like the point where we have an overlap in generations, right? These guys are, to say they're old head haters. Well, these guys witnessed Steph and they witnessed LeBron and them firsthand. They also witnessed Jordan. They also witnessed Oakley. They also witnessed all the guys that we big up from the 90s. He's played against Tim Hardaway. He played against Alonzo Mourning many, many times in their primes. So just to throw that out there. I know Pearson coming to the league to 98. So the only time he saw Jordan was the Wizards Jordan. But we get it. I mean, like, he saw enough of Malone. He saw enough of Stockton. He saw enough of Keem. Not in their tip-top physical prime, like I'm doing my poor peers. But they understand what they're talking about, right? They're my age group.
Guess what?
So us old
They
heads.
have to come off of it for the flow of movement to be able to have scoring go up, which is why we like to sit here and watch.
Draymond is not close to a 90s player. Mr. Winters got on. I see that. Mr. Winters got on the panel as well.
About the physicality of the game back then.
I mean, everybody
In the league could have been on the NBA team 20 years ago.
Straight up.
The locker room was too grown.
Okay, I love this point. I love this point that Kevin Garnett made when he said the locker room was too grown. And again, yeah, the NBA of the 90s had grown men. They had men who went to 4 years of college. Most of them got degrees. Like 90% of the league got degrees. 90% of the league today don't got degrees. All right, you had culture. You had Garnett is referring to the guys when he came into the league as an 18, 19-year-old kid. He's referring to the guys who ran the culture of the locker rooms. You didn't have a bunch of one-and-done guys. You didn't have a bunch of guys who flamed out. You had a bunch of guys who proved themselves and were NBA vets and knew how to run locker rooms and knew how to, you understand what I'm saying? Like, God, there were rules in these locker rooms. You couldn't come in with a boom box, right? Nowadays, everybody got the earbuds. You like, if the guys from the 90s were there today, take the earbuds out. Take them earbuds out. You understand what I'm saying? When you leave, you can put them shits in. You can listen to whatever music you want. But here, we sit face to face. We sit face to face. We gang up as a team. Like we gang up as a team. We sit here, we get this camaraderie before we go out here and go to war. That's what he's talking about. You had grown men in the locker room. I remember when Marbury got traded to the Knicks, Kurt Thomas was passing on the Charles Oakley and the Anthony Mason rules. We don't play music in the locker room. So when Marbury came in, he was playing music and he rubbed Kurt Thomas the wrong way. And that was one of the things that while him and Kurt Thomas really didn't have, because Marbury came in on a superstar. And again, it is what it is. Like you said, guys, you had leadership on certain teams. Now teams are, nowadays these teams don't even play that long together. They don't even stay together that long because the contracts are shorter, because of free agency. Everybody's moving around the league. So it's a different league. And this is what Garnett is kind of talking about when he says grown men in the locker room.
You had to really work on your shit. It wasn't you was out 2-3 games, man. Your teammates.
Again, now he's talking about the vets on the team. If you out 2-3 games with the minor injury, we see you walking around, we see you practicing. You had guys who are gonna challenge you. Yo, man, you can play through this. We need you. We don't need your backup in the game as we're on this losing streak. We need you. This is another reason why the players and teams were considered better back in the 90s than they are now. Because you got guys who spend 25 games, with an ankle injury. An ankle injury that they could take back in the day. You take that shit up, and if you could walk, you could play. You're going to get better in the off season. Nowadays, these guys are more worried about their long-term contract and how many more contracts they're going to get. They're not worried about helping the team. This is why a lot of these teams fall apart. Again, I'm not saying that the injuries are not legit, but this is why these teams fall apart. Because their players are not, this is why you now have 15-man rosters. When you had 12 back in the 90s. Teams carry 12, and if somebody got hurt, okay, then you could sign somebody else for 10-day contracts, shit like that, just to hold down the fort. But you didn't have. You can go back and look. You didn't have 15 to 16 guys on the worst teams. You would have 17, 18 guys that played in uniform 14. Now you got where 25 to 30 guys suit up, where there are G League rosters out there at the end of the season trying to prevent teams like look at the last night the New Orleans Pelicans played against the Lakers. That was a G League roster out there, bro. I mean, there was Zion. Obviously, Ingram was traded. McCollum's out. I don't think McCollum played. DeJounte Murray's out for the season. No Murphy. And again, look, those guys got legitimate injuries. But again, the injury, these guys don't seem to have toughness where you're going to get 60 to 75. Again, they will say, oh yeah, they got injured in the 90s. No, you can look and guys play 60, 70. The only one we could think of that was really injury prone, and that was that didn't start till like 97, 98. That was Penny Hardaway. When he had legitimate knee injuries that robbed him of the greatness of his career.
What you doing tonight? You going? Nah, I can't go, man. My toenail off, man. I can't. Nah, bro, you can't even come in here and lead no niggas like that. You hear me? Real shit. Yeah, man, it was men leading men.
Somebody in this era has a mid-range.
You couldn't get no.
So now they talking about the mid-range, and this is the part where I absolutely cook these guys.
They got a mid-range.
Yeah.
See, so look. Now Lamont is going to come later and say, at no point, I want you to understand this, what Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett are talking about. He said, not many players have mid-range in today's game, and those that do are the best scorers. They're the greatest score. They're the best scorers in the league. I want you to understand that, because Lamont is going to come back and say, well, these old heads said nobody has mid-range. That's a general statement. When he says nobody has mid-range, I'm going to look at it this way, because I looked at the numbers. Only 47 players in the NBA in this season have taken 2 or more mid-range shots per game. 47. 47. When you go back to 96, 97, which again, I mean, if we did 94, 95, 93, 94, and if they actually kept those numbers, you would probably even see even more. Because in that day, teams only took about 10 threes per game on average in the league. You had teams that would take about 6. So when you say nobody has a mid-range, that's in general to what the NBA that they came in. Again, Garnett was a mid-range player. You can go back and look throughout his career and see how many mid-ranges he took. He took a few threes. Paul Pierce was a all over the court 3-level scorer. These guys were 3-level scorers. If you pushed them to any player on the floor, they could score, they could thrive and operate.
Yeah, they don't try to do it. Okay, young fella, if you hear me, and then y'all exhaust the ball. Y'all are dribbling that.
Dribbling the air out of the ball. That's the next thing. That's the next part of the game that they're talking about. Again, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, 2 Hall of Famers, NBA champions, right? NBA champions, the guys that made LeBron run from Cleveland to Miami. These are the 2 of the perfect guys that have this discussion. You could not dribble the ball. You could not dribble the air out of the ball like you do now. You had to move the rock. The point guard had the ball. He brought it up. He had to move the rock. The point guard was going to get his assists certain ways.
Times more than another nigga.
Now you have Mr. Ray Allen. And there's the big 3 Miami. Of course, they want to say big 4. Rondo, who of course won a championship with LeBron in LA, right? So you basically got first-hand knowledge, first-hand accounts of Hall of Fame basketball players. Not me. So when I come in, I'm just agreeing with Ray Allen and what Paul Pierce say, because I understand. I'm not, you're going to have guys on the panel say I'm an old head hater when the only thing I framed in this argument is that Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen spoke about the difference between today's game and the 90s game that they came in. These guys came in the league in the mid-90s, late 90s. They retired in the late teens, right? All of them retired in the mid-late teens, right? Ray Allen there's a guy that personally saved LeBron's legacy because everybody knows LeBron and them turnovers at the end of game 6 would have blown a championship. Ray Allen saved the Miami Heat from losing in game 6 with that knockdown 3 off a LeBron miss, Chris Bosh rebound, Ray Allen 3 from the corner.
A couple of days ago on my Instagram feed is that the mid-range game is being lost. Nowadays, seeing guys pump fake and step sideways, on the three-point line, and you're making it a tougher shot than necessarily getting into the paint and getting something. Look
at Mr. Ray Allen. Look at Mr. Shuttlesworth right here. You see him hitting it? You see him operating in the mid-range?
I tell my boys, and I'm coach the AU team currently, and I tell them, I want you guys to
look at Allen.
Play hard, learn from the NBA, the do's and the don'ts, but don't settle for threes. Like, I hate.
Okay, think about this. Think about this. Mr. Ray Allen, one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time, one of the greatest marksmen of all time, one of the great three-level scorers of all time, and you see in his highlight package what Mr. Ray Allen was all about. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys kind of saw him as he was older. He was more of an outside shooter, but Ray Allen in his prime was that dude. I want you to understand that. I'm going to back up a little bit because he starts on a good point right here.
My Instagram feed is that the mid-range game is being lost. Nowadays, seeing guys
see that? He said, okay, I know I'm like doing a lot of pausing, but he said the mid-range game is being lost. A lot of these dudes pump fake step sideways. That's their game. As long as they get outside of the three, they think that's the shot they need. If you were a really true scorer, you would hit that too. Instead of going back for a 3 because you're looking for 3 over 2, a lot of times you do that pump back, step sideways, double step back, you miss it, but analytics is telling you take that shot rather than the 2 because the 2 is not an efficient shot. Not realizing that once you master that, you can get your score, you can get your bucket. On top of that, you wind up getting fouled more, taking that 2 where you're at, rather than doing that double step back. That's what the defense wants you to do.
On the three-point line, and you're making it a tougher shot than necessarily getting into the paint and getting something mid-range. So I believe it's bad for our young kids to watch because what I tell my boys and I'm coaching the AAU team currently.
So he coaches AAU, right?
I want you guys to pay attention to what goes on in college. Play hard.
He's telling people learn the game from college. Don't learn from NBA.
Like, I hated shooting threes to start a game because you want to kind of build your rhythm into it. Get to the free throw line, make some easy layups. And then the best time to shoot a three-pointer is off of offensive rebound. And right now, it's like the first thing
first thing you do. An offensive rebound 3 is a killer. This is
we got somebody.
So now Lamont is tapping in, and now notice Lamont will not give Ray Allen what Ray Allen says do. He's kind of skipping over it, and he's basically framing Ray Allen as an old head hater, despite the fact that Ray Allen is more successful at however Lamont thought he was as a basketball player and a coach. Ray Allen is that times 10. Minimum.
Like the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders. If there ain't no mid-range shooters...
Now notice that. Which one of them, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, or what's the name, said there are no mid-range shooters?
This is what I mean by, if there ain't none in the game, then what? But then proceed to tell us
who the mid-range shooters are. No, notice this.
Makes no sense.
Notice this.
There ain't no mid-range
notice
shooters
this.
in the game, which I can name a ton, like the KDs.
Notice this. No, they never said that no mid-range shooters. They literally said the mid-range is being lost, and those that do, I know I'm not deaf. I know I'm not hearing things. Those that do are the successful scorers. So I want you to understand what Lamont is about to do is then sit there and try to frame their argument. Not only will he frame mine, He framed their argument because they literally said the mid-range games is lost, and those that still got a mid-range are the best scorers in the league. So what he's going to do is go down the top 20 scorers this league and ask me, do they have a mid-range? Do they have a mid-range? Do they have a mid-range? And I'm going to go for, I'm not going to look at the numbers. I'm just going to go for what I see of their game and think of the memory. And go for memory. He's going to watch the numbers right in front of you. But then here's the thing. Later on, I go and I look up the numbers because on NBA.com, you can see where everybody shoots. Ever since 1996-97, NBA.com has the record on where everybody shoots in the NBA.
Like the shit Gilgeous-Alexander's. If there ain't no mid-range shooters,
the leading scorer in the league.
A shit ton of mid-range shooters like the DeMar DeRozans and whatnot.
And Devin Booker.
And then to me,
on the answer stuff.
See, that's the first thing I said on this. This is the first thing I said on this panel. This is the first thing I said on this panel, and they're successful. The guys that he are naming are the successful scorers. The guys he are naming with the mid-range are the guys who can score the basket.
Then why can we name them off so easily?
We're naming them off so easily because they're the best scorers. All you got to do is go to see who got a mid-range, to see who operates in the mid-range. All you got to do is go down the leading scorers in the league. Now, there are few who are 3 and D, where their whole game is either outside the three or to the basket. But as I said, there were only 47 players there are only 47 players in the league attempting more than 2 mid-range shots a game. 2. That's 1 per half. That's a half per quarter. There are only 47 out of let's say 540 players who qualified. There are only 47 who take a mid-range shot per half. I want you to understand that when I go and look in the first year they kept the stats, Michael Jordan took 15 a game. Michael Jordan got 15.6 of his points. Whatever he scored, I know how, I'm sure he got 29 or 28 or something like that. 15 of Michael Jordan's NBA leading points were scored off mid-range makes. That's not even equating what he did from the free throw line. Because he would get fouled taking mid-range, or he would get fouled going to the basket. Nobody was stupid enough in the 90s to foul three-point shooters. And Michael Jordan, I say in 96, 97, probably made about 43s or something like that. I know that the last 2 years he was with the Bulls, he took the fewest threes because that's where they moved the line back out. Again, they'll make it out because they moved the line back out. Jordan couldn't shoot the three anymore. No. Jordan just said, okay, it's no longer the official shot for me. I operate in the mid-range.
It just sounds like y'all saying, like, is everybody that plays supposed to have a mid-range? Did everybody in the 90s and 2000s or the 80s have mid-ranges? The last time I checked, no.
Most of them.
Okay, now here's the next thing I say. Most of them. Most of the players in the 90s, if you scored the basket, Muggsy Bogues was the most efficient, probably second or third most efficient mid-range scorer. Muggsy Bogues scored more mid-range points in 1996 to 97 than basically everybody in the league today. And he shot it at a 57% clip. 5'3", Muggsy Bogues. Because guess what? That was the game. That was the way the game was practiced. Muggsy Bogues came up at Baltimore Dunbar High School without a three-point shot. There was no three-point shot at any level that he played with. He played his whole career at Wake Forest with no three-point line. Only outside of a select few games. The NCAA did not adopt a universal three-point line until 87 after he retired. After he graduated from Wake Forest.
No, there's no most of them. Okay,
there's no most of them in here. Right there, he's lying.
I can literally go to any random roster in the 80s. And probably only 3 to 4 players on that team were elite mid-range shooters, if even elite.
How about this, Lamar?
Now look, he says I can go to any roster in the 80s. Here's the problem: you're gonna have to look at film because they didn't keep the stats, so you can't use stats on that. You're gonna have to look. You look at the film. Can you name a guy that averaged over 20? See, right here, I would have killed. If he let me speak, I would have killed him right there. I would have killed everything. His whole basis of argument. I said, can you name a guy in any era from before this era, who averaged 20 points a game, yet took more threes than he took 2-pointers? Because I can probably go down the list and name a bunch of them. I guarantee you that Anthony Edwards, most of his shots are 3-pointers. Most of his shots. Now, again, SGA, Kevin Durant, a Devin Booker now, even. Those are exceptions. But most of the league, including Steph Curry, takes more threes than they take twos. The Boston Celtics, as a team, as I'm going to point out, take more threes than they take twos.
What I'm saying is, skill sets vary in the league.
Man, what's good, man?
It's not made for everybody to have.
I'm sitting here reacting to my video.
Dennis Rodman couldn't shoot a lick, but what he did on the defensive end is what made him great. Right? Guys in the 90s like to credit.
Bringing up Dennis Rodman, when we all know Dennis Rodman was not a scorer, bring up a guy who averaged 4, 5, 6 points a game. What point are you making, Lamont? Come on now. We're talking about scorers. We know this. And again, he's going to bring up later on the Reggie Evans that played with Ray Allen in Seattle. And I'm explaining to him, well, now Reggie Allen's and the Dennis Rodmans, y'all wouldn't let them in the league now because they only do one thing. They mess up spacing.
Hodges, excellent three-point shooters, struggled in other areas, but the three-point shot is what made him great. There were certain guys.
And Hodges was actually, in the prime of his career, was an all-around scorer as well.
Three-point shooters. They were just great at what they did. But the fact that what they do is they pick one element of the game that's changed. Because Jeff Teague literally told everybody.
Okay, he's bringing up the Jeff Teague point where a coach, and this is the thing.
Told everybody why the mid-range shot is becoming irrelevant.
Yes, he's going to make the point that coaching, Jeff Teague, one of Jeff Teague's coach, who probably was on an analytics-driven team, told him, stop taking that 18-footer, right? And again, we can agree that, and that's the point I make, coaching and analytics has taken the mid-range away. Not that players don't do it or can't do it, but coaching. But again, here's the thing, here's the caveat. When 90% of the leading scorers in the league take mid-range, or the better mid-range players, well, then that goes to tell you that players would be more well-rounded scorers if you let them take mid-range. Instead, analytics are telling you, take the three or get a layup. Don't take that mid-range because it hurts the team. But it's bull. It's not been proven to be right.
Jeff Teague went into a game. We talked about how he went into a game, hit somebody with a bop, step in, mid-range pull-up money.
And it went in, right?
And the coach said, that's a bad shot. You can't do it. But he
See?
went into the locker room. It was all in his ear.
Again, so this is what Lamont is basically saying is analytics and the coaches who've given into analytics. Yes. So we would be able to agree it's not the player's fault. It's not the player's fault if coaching has given into the analytics saying that the mid-range shots should be eradicated, right? So it's not just old heads hating, it's the fact that analytics has taken over the game.
That shot. So when the coaches are strategically telling players, this is what we want you to do as a part of the game plan, what are they supposed to do? Because when Jeff Teague said, I kept shooting the mid-range shots, you know what happened?
Yeah, what are you supposed to do? You know what you do?
He got put on the bench because he kept shooting the mid-range shots. So what the hell are players supposed to do?
Great. But you notice how the best players will take that mid-range? Because guess what? You're not going to get put on the bench.
Today's game, these coaching staffs are made up of 45, 50, 55, and 60-year-old guys from the old era.
Yeah, there are guys who buy into. There are guys who have to buy into the analytics to keep their coaching jobs.
For years past, literally telling them this is what we want you to do on the court.
See, we can agree that analytics is ruining sports. If we had that conversation, but Lamont is so hell bent on taking the players off the hook. That again, we're commenting on the whole game.
Y'all don't listen to what the players say. Y'all have all these gripes and the complaints. Y'all pretend as if these guys can't do all of this stuff. They can make mid-range shots. Y'all don't take into consideration that maybe they're not taking the mid-range shots because they actually do play defense. Maybe they do clog up the lanes with zone reads. Maybe they
him in the zone reads, boy. I love it.
Take that into consideration.
The zone reads.
Driving in, just passing up wide open layups and mid-range shots just to kick it to a contested three. These are lies that y'all push.
Yeah.
On threes for the season. All right, so he's gonna give me a chance to talk right here.
But you go ahead, King, bro.
Right here.
Oh no, I was just saying. Well, if you were a great scorer in that era, you had a mid range. Like any guy that had 20 points a game, 20. Like even Ray Allen, one of the GOAT shooters, is telling you I shot mid range, right? So you wouldn't find many shooters or many scorers who took more threes than they take twos. Now you have one of the elite teams in the league who takes more threes for the season than they take in two. So the game has changed itself, right? You're right. The coaches tell you not to shoot the mid-range, right? Like they told Teague not to shoot the mid-range. That's because they follow the analytics.
Let me ask you a question.
Right.
So okay, see, already Lamont knows where I'm going, and he's interrupting me. He's interrupting me. As I said, there's not many players. Every argument you hear, I said I knew what I said because now I don't know if it's Erky Man, the guy who kept calling me an old head hater or whoever. They're going to say you said this when it's clear what I said. I said more. You players. Ray Allen himself said I took the mid range. I took mid range shots. I never started a game taking a three. The best threes are made for offensive rebound because that's the thing. We're gonna work in to get the best shot possible. If we get an offensive rebound, that's the best way for me to. If I see my team get off, I'm gonna find a main spot on my three, and I'm gonna take that. That's the majority, or maybe a lot of Ray Allen's. It's drawn off of plays. No one took threes in Ray Allen, who started his career in '96, finished it in 2015. That was the last year. I think that was 2014. He basically, and remember, LeBron wanted him to come back. LeBron wanted him to come with him to 2014 was Ray Allen's last year. LeBron wanted him to come to Cleveland, and Ray Allen was like, "Nah, I'm good. I got my 2 championships. I'm good. You're not gonna blame me for what goes wrong in Cleveland." All right. So a guy who started his career in '96, finishing in 14, undoubted Hall of Famer, one of the great college basketball players of all time, right? One of the great players in Pennsylvania. I'm in Pennsylvania right now. One of the great players in Pennsylvania basketball history, him and Kobe. You understand what I'm saying? You cannot, UConn legend, Milwaukee Bucks legend, Miami Heat savior. Okay? LeBron James legacy savior said, I took mid-range. I never started a game shooting threes to shoot threes.
So I'm gonna run down the list of the top scorers.
So now he's gonna sit here and proceed to waste time proving the point because as I said, my first word I said, the players that shoot mid-range today are the successful scorers, are the ones who score the most points. Because guess what? They're the most well-rounded scorers. Therefore, you want the ball in their hands. Therefore, you feed them. Kevin Durant. I keep always do that. I'm thinking about Kevin Durant because I always do that. But anyway, KD. Got you. He's gonna
tell me if these guys are not good mid-range shooters. Okay, we're gonna go through that list.
I want to see when he goes to Carl. Shea, we all know Shea's a great mid-range player. We all know Shea.
Taking a lot of threes. I wouldn't know.
He ever shoot the mid-range.
What's his percentage? Again.
Okay, Anthony Edwards shoots 2.7 mid-range shots a game. He makes 1. He's 1 of 47. It takes more than 2 a game, but he makes 37% of his mid-range buckets. Okay? So when you ask me, can Anthony Edwards shoot the mid-range? No, Anthony Edwards can't shoot the mid-range because he barely does it. And he doesn't do it that well. 37% is doo-doo. 37% is doo-doo. And if Anthony Edwards is a 45% three-point shooter, then he's not. He obviously outside of the paint, Anthony Edwards ain't great. Okay? Outside of the paint, Anthony Edwards ain't great. So this is one of them things where I didn't see the numbers in front of me, and I said, we all know he takes more threes than twos. I'm on live. Okay. Jesus Christ. So let's see if I can pause. Okay, what do you want me to I'm on line. Let me just finish this real quick. Put the tape on and then I'll dress them. So Anthony Edwards is one of the guys who shoots mid-range, but he doesn't shoot it well. And I didn't have the numbers in front of me, but just off of observation, I know that Anthony Edwards is a 3-and-D player. He takes a lot of threes. He's a poor example when he takes a lot of threes.
He takes mid-ranges too.
He takes mid-ranges. He takes 2.7 per game. And he makes... Oh, see Lamont. Look at Lamont. Lamont has the numbers, and he goes to the effective field goal percentage. But he won't tell you what he's doing in the mid-range because Lamont knows full well he could go look up at what he does at the mid-range. See, Lamont is real slick with this nonsense. He's using one argument, but he's not using proof of what he's saying.
Which Anthony Edwards field goal percentage right now.
Matter of fact, you know what? I'll give Lamont grace on this. Lamont doesn't realize you can switch over to shooting stats by zone. Lamont don't realize that. Lamont, this is the same guy that was feeding Gilbert Arenas the stats when he was debating Scat. While Scat was up there debating with his memory, Scat didn't have a computer in front of him. This guy got 4 guys working the computer to feed in either in his ear or on his computer screen. What Gilbert Arenas, mind you, the same Gilbert Arenas that goes on First Take now, right? Gets a little segment on First Take, feeding him information. I want you to understand that because this is one of your guys. This is one of your guys. Lamont, I don't think Lamont realized you can switch over to the shooting stats by zone. And right, like I said, Anthony Edwards shoots 37% from the mid-range, 1 make, 2.7 attempts. So he's one of 47 players. And again, as one of the leading scorers, of course you're going to be, but that's not a lot. That's not a lot, especially compared to the 90s. When I can guarantee you there were at least 100 to 200, maybe 250 players in the 96-97 season who shot more than 2 mid-range shots a game.
7%. You're going to say it's because of dunks and layups. So at the end of the day,
yeah, it is.
So let's
it is.
Can Kevin Durant shoot the mid-range?
Obviously, he's one of the best.
Can Jalen Brunson shoot the mid-range?
Of course.
Can Cade Cunningham shoot the mid-range?
Come on, Baba. I believe so. I've seen him shoot the mid-range.
Can Devin Booker shoot the mid-range?
Another one. You're at 10 now, right?
Can Damian Lillard shoot the mid-range?
Not that good. No. Okay. Damian Lillard shoots one. Damian Lillard hits it at 48%, but he has 0.9 makes, 1.9 attempts. He is not one of the 47 players who takes more than two mid-range shots a game. 0.9 makes, 1.9 attempts in the mid-range. Just so y'all know, because these old niggas are haters. These old niggas are haters. That's their mantra. That's their mantra. These old niggas are haters. Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I went and got the numbers. I went and looked at the numbers of the whole league, or at least the main guys later on. And even now, I'm going off of memory. I want y'all to understand this. I'm going off of memory of multiple players. Now, he's going to get to Karl-Anthony Towns because he's going down the list, right? So Dame is at 25. Karl-Anthony Towns. Again, I'm a Knicks fan. I watch the Knicks at least 6. They playing right now, and I'm going to probably get to the game in a minute. But Karl Anthony Towns, the guy that I've probably watched 55 games playing my team's uniform, he's going to try to tell me that Karl Anthony Towns is a mid-range shooter.
I know these old niggas. I got you. I got you. Look, because I looked up. Hold on. I looked up.
See, Mr. Winter.
You old niggas is weird.
You old Erky man you old niggas is weird. I got you. No. And here's another one. Okay. LeBron makes 43% of his mid-range shots. I think he's one of the 47. It takes more than two. He makes, he's about 44%, 44.7%. And I think he's 1 for 2.3. So he makes one a game, 2.3 attempts. Now, again, for me to call you a mid-range operator, and there's only 10 players in the league who are that, you have to make more than 1.5, in my opinion. You have to make more than 1.5 on 45% shooting. Again, that's not a big, because even Mikal Bridges, who shoots at a 55% clip, would not qualify because he only makes 1.3, right? I even pushed Dame Lillard in his 1.4. I'm sorry, Dame Lillard takes 1.4 and out of 2.9. So my mistake. Again, I'm going off of memory. He's one of the guys who and I pushed him in there. Because 1.4 could have very well be 1.5, right? So just for argument's sake, I said he's one of the 10 guys who I call a mid-range operator when my minimum requirement is 1.5 makes and at least a 45% of field goal percentage in the mid-range. Mid-range only. That's what we're talking about, mid-range. Because in today's game, you have 10 players who I call mid-range operators, where they're guys who make a significant amount and they make it at a acceptable field goal percentage. 45, that's minimum. In 96, 97, there are 24 players who qualified. Muggsy Bogues being one of them. Steve Kerr being another one of them. Let me ask you something. Does anybody have Muggsy Bogues or Steve Kerr ever lead the league in scoring or being among the scoring leaders? So when I say everybody had a mid-range in the 90s, that's proven by the stats.
Or no, he can't. LeBron for his career is about 37% of mid-range.
Oh yeah, again, I go by his career, what I've seen over the course. Again, he's going to go by what LeBron has improved, which I can give him credit. He has improved. But again, 44.7% of his makes. That's the part of the game where we want LeBron to play, because we all know, other than that, we don't want him taking open threes. We want him taking contested threes, and we damn sure don't want him to get to the basket. But LeBron will keep his overall numbers up by getting those easiest possible layups at the easiest possible of the part of the game. We get it.
Now, because y'all talk about guys getting better and developing their games.
Here's my
For his career, he's 37%.
You don't have to go down. Keep over talking.
You're going to keep up with, Erky man. Boy, I would love to see this guy again. And I would love to, see, one thing about me, I love to debate and I love to critique and I love to catch people on what they say, their arguments, and I don't forget. My memory is like an elephant. So Erky man, I'll see you again in these streets, because you all keep over talking him. No, he over talks me. He doesn't let me land my plane. You're asking me questions and then don't let me answer. And again, it's yes or no. It's a yes or no questions. But by the same token, like, come on, bro. You got the numbers in front of you. I don't. LeBron James is not a mid-range operator.
This is they don't work on their games. One thing you got to give LeBron credit for is that he has developed that mid-range jump shot. He has developed his three-point shot, which now he's no longer a liability there, which he used to be. So if we're not going to lie, yes, LeBron has the ability to make those mid-range shots, because we now see him shooting that turnaround fadeaway, which has kind of become lethal for him to a certain degree. So we're not even going to let you lie on LeBron. Let's go to the next high score. Steph Curry. Can Steph Curry shoot the mid-range?
Steph Curry can
shoot wherever he wants, but we all know that Steph. Okay, yeah, he's at Towns now. I'm gonna end it right here after Towns, because this is gonna prove my point. Bubba, come on, Bubba. Come on. This is gonna prove my point. Come on. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a Knicks fan. He's not a great mid-range shooter. He gets to the basket. They're laughing. They're laughing. They're laughing, right? They're laughing. Now here's why I destroyed him. Here's why I destroyed him. Again, I didn't have the numbers in front of me. I looked at the numbers later. Again, I watch basketball. Karl-Anthony Towns makes 0.4 mid-range shots a game. At 1 point, he on 1.4 attempts. His shooting percentage in the mid-range is 31.7% this year. He's 31.7 to 31.9. Again, the numbers are coming off memory. I'm memorizing all of these damn numbers. I see. I memorize all these numbers. I'm going off the dome. Okay? I'm going off the dome even now because I looked at the numbers after. Karl-Anthony Towns does not check the mid-range. He's a three-point shooter or he gets to the basket or we're going to post him up. I watch the Knicks. These are not Knicks fans on here. They're not Knicks fans.
Bro, you know why these niggas pausing? You know why they pausing?
Okay.
They don't watch basketball. They don't watch basketball for real. They just watch their team. Okay, hold on.
Erky Man said, I don't watch basketball, I don't watch my team. Exactly. He's on my motherfucking team. He's on my team. And the numbers prove he shoots 31% on the mid-range. That is, Karl-Anthony Towns is shooting 53% on the season. He's shooting 43% from the three. You want to tell me that he's a mid-range player? Come on, Lamar, you could have gave that one up. There's nowhere where the Knicks are getting him the shot ball in mid-range. No, he's either at the basket or at the three. And he'll either, if he got a good one-on-one matchup, he'll take that guy downtown. He's going to play pick and pop. A lot of his offensive rebound putbacks. Don't tell me that a player that I watch, and mind you, I gave him Jalen Brunson, of course. And even Jalen Brunson, 2.6 off of 2.6, and I think he shoots 40. I think he's one of the people that qualify as mid-range operators because he shoots 48% in the mid-range. But are you're gonna sit there? But I thought he would make more than what he does. No. Brunson is getting to the paint for a lot of his shots. Brunson is shooting a lot of threes for a lot of his shots, and the rest of his points come off of free throws. Brunson ain't exactly killing you in a restricted area at 6'2". These guys again, man. So I'm gonna end it here. I would love to do a part 2 to this. I would love to do a part 2 to this, but man, you're gonna sit there and tell me they all laugh when a guy that I watch, and then the numbers, boy. I went in the comment section. I bet you nobody, because they just talk just to talk. I went in the comment section. I put all these numbers down as I looked them up. Come on, man.